Dope. Cool.
All right, guys, we're back. We're back live for the first time. It's one-on-one. I'm Don Drew. We are here with Sean Wotherspoon, round
What
two
up?
extraordinaire. The show, Nike revolutionAIR, right?
I'm trying. Yep,
So
go
Sean,
forward.
Nobody could hear you before.
Okay.
We want to jump into it. I'm
Cool.
sorry if we're a little repetitive.
All good, yeah.
So talk to me about the origin of RoundTwo.
Okay, yeah.
And a vintage store and what you got going.
Yeah, so the origin of RoundTwo, it goes back to, I guess it all started when I moved to Richmond, Virginia. I moved there from Northern Virginia, and when I was living in Northern Virginia, I was very into like new brands. I was wearing a lot of new polo. I was wearing a lot of new designer stuff. Like I was heavy into skateboarding. I was wearing like, Crooks and Castles, Hundreds, Diamond Supply Co., very heavily Diamond Supply Co., like that was my shit. But so I was into like a lot of newer brands. I moved a little bit more south to Richmond, Virginia. It's more of a city. It's like downtown. When I moved to Richmond, it's like the whole style was different. There's like this whole hipster style that I hadn't really been exposed to before. And there's like people were wearing used clothes, and there's like thrift stores, and thrift stores were something I never really messed with before. And then there was a store there that did buy sell trade of like men's and women's clothes. And it was, I knew what Flight Club was at the time because sneakers. And to me, this was like the Flight Club version of a clothing store. And it was cool. The concept was sick, I thought. It was awesome that you could bring in your clothes out your closet, and they're like, here, we'll give you this much cash, or we'll give you this much store credit to spend in the store, And it was sick. I got addicted to it. I was like, man, this is dope. I started going to thrift stores. And when I'm going to thrift stores, I was like, man, this is, I was hip to, like I said, I was hip to polo and a lot of the new brands. So when I was in thrift stores, I started finding like, oh, wait, this is 90s polo. Oh, wait, this is 80s, or this is, this is an older skate, this is an older, skate piece. This is from the late 90s, from early 2000s. And I started.
And it was just you doing that by yourself.
Yeah. It was just me doing it by myself. It was like kind of like my thing I did. I moved to Richmond. I had a few friends there. And the few friends I did have, like I said, they got me hip to this store, and they got me hip to the thrift store thing. And I kind of got addicted to making money off it. Like I would go to thrift stores and get like a trash bag full of clothes for like $20. I would take it to this store, Rumors, and I would trade it in and get maybe $60 cash. Plus I would have kept a few pieces on the side for either myself or to sell elsewhere to get more money out of. So it was cool. It was like, it was fun, and as I'm going through the pieces, as I'm going through the thrift stores, like I had to kind of teach myself, like, I had to find out for myself, like what was real or fake. There was no like guide. There wasn't like something online, or there wasn't other thrifter pages that I was going through like, oh yeah, he found this and this is the right tag. Like,
and you would see like name brand stuff.
Yeah. I was finding like polo
thrift stores, and you would see knockoffs as well as authentic.
Yeah. And thinking back to it, I saw a lot of knockoffs, and I even bought a lot of stuff back then. And we're speaking to maybe 6 years ago, I was buying stuff then that I look back and I'm like, damn, that was a bootleg piece. Or I was just recently actually talking to a friend, and I was like, man, I remember, I pulled out like an old polo shirt and that I had kept for years. And I was like, I remember when I thought this was bootleg, and this is actually a legit polo sports shirt. But my knowledge at that time back then, it was telling me, yo, this is a bootleg piece. But like I said, I had to kind of teach myself. So I would go through and I was paying attention to the quality of items, because that was something I always looked at. Like, the funniest thing ever that I don't think I've ever really talked about it much besides with friends is like my favorite brand when I was younger was True Religion. It might sound absolutely ridiculous, but I was skateboarding every day, and when I was working at Barney's, Saks and all that, True Religion had the thickest jeans. It was all triple sewn. Like that was before True Religion was like.
People wore that. I mean, they had retail stores.
Yeah. No, it was cool. Like it was a cool brand. It hadn't really hit the hip hop scene yet, but they were jeans that I was recommending to like people who were shopping at Barney's and Saks, but I loved them because I would skate in them. And I never ripped through a pair of True Religions ever. Meanwhile, like all my friends' asses are hanging out, and like, and all their, their crew jeans and their, whatever it is, like their Greco Slims and all that stuff, they were getting torn up and they were getting ripped up. And like, my True Religions, they never failed me, dude. Like those were thick, well-made jeans. But like, so back to what I'm saying, I would always look at quality. So as I'm going through the thrift stores and trying to teach myself, I'm like, I'm like, nah, this can't be real polo. Like, look at the quality. Or like, there's no way that this is Versace, even if it is vintage, like the quality. So, quality is something I was looking at. I was looking at colors. Like I really, truly had to teach myself. Like there wasn't anywhere that I was looking to be like, hey, this is a cool thing. I have to find that, I was at
How
the
did
thrift.
you know what was worth money and what wasn't?
I had no idea at the time. I would pick up.
So you would just buy stuff on a whim?
Yeah, I would buy stuff on a whim, or, of course we have cell phones and we have eBay. So I'm going through the thrift store racks and I pull out a polo thing and I'm like, well, this would be expensive if it was new polo. Let me look up this one and see if there's any kind of market for it on eBay or something. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like,
the polo has been relevant forever.
Yeah. And I keep referencing polo just because it's like pretty relevant. It's something that I was finding a lot of, but it goes for any brand. I was finding stuff and I would look it up online and be like, is there someone looking for this out there? Like, what is this? And I would kind of educate myself on it. I would get used to. I would be like, hey, wait, I've seen that piece before. I've seen this before. I was finding a lot of stuff that I recognized from like old hip hop videos and stuff. Like, I started getting into hip hop, I guess, not super, super young, but I think Dilated Peoples was like the first music video I ever saw on MTV. And that was in middle school. And I remember, like, as I'm going through these thrift stores, I'm kind of seeing different styles and clothing that these dudes were wearing. So to me, that meant that it was something to buy. So it's like, if I saw a Tommy Hilfiger rugby or some kind of specific Nike shirt, I'm like, Fresh Prince was wearing that striped Nike, that pinstripe Nike hat on the Ring My Bell, cover for that vinyl. Like, that's sick, So to me, I was like, I don't even need to know anything else about it. Will Smith wore it. It was cool enough for me to buy. And that's what I was finding a lot of stuff where I'm like, man, like, I remember seeing so-and-so wear something similar to this in whatever video. So I would grab it for that reason, that, I had some kind of connection to it. And, yeah, I mean, I just kind of let it roll from there. It just developing. So you went
from just from like rummaging through stuff, buying stuff. And how does that evolve into round two?
Yes.
And then fast forward to, how does round two blow up the way it has?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll get to that quick. I'll try to make the long story short. Yeah. So like, I'm thrifting, I'm finding all this stuff. I'm trading into the store Rumors. I end up getting a job at that place, Rumors, because I was just in love with it. I was infatuated with like the model for that business was so cool. Taking stuff in, getting a cash offer, getting trades was like sick, And I thought it was cool that they were pumping money into the community. I get a job at Rumors. They didn't have a huge men's section. I was trying to be the one to be like, yo, I'm trying to like take your men's section, by the horns and really like kill it for y'all. Cause you guys are like a ladies store, but you don't realize that there's dudes coming in here who are specifically asking me for stuff and they're like dying to buy shit and you just aren't catering to them. So I was trying to like blow up their men's section. They kind of kept giving me the, we'll get you there. You know what I mean? They're kind of like brushing me off. We had a run in. I ended up like, they gave me like an employee review and they was like, I don't know, it was negative review. And then I was like, you know what? Well, if that's how you guys feel about me, then here's how I feel about you. And we kind of had our run in, went our separate ways. And that's when I started doing my own thing. I was like, you know what? I can do what they're doing. I made enough friends when I was working at Rumors that I can hit up and be like, yo, I'm doing my own thing. And if you need the kind of stuff I was saving for you at Rumors, hit me up. I got you at my house, And that's when it started to go to the closet. So like I had this closet and I called it the world's smallest boutique on Facebook. And I would just like, me and my friend Chris, we would just, collect stuff, thrift, put it in there. We'd sell it to people. Then, like I was saying before, we got this storage unit. That was like our big idea. That was like our huge come up idea that we were like, holy shit, let's get a storage unit. It's 10 by 10. It's $100 a month. Let's ask U-Haul like what the rules and regulations are. They were like, yeah, you can bring people there, do whatever you want as long as it's not drug related. We're like, cool, it's clothing related, great, So we decorated this storage unit kind of like a store. We collaged stuff on the walls. We hung like a dowel rod in there to hang things, and that was like our little shop. So whenever friends were in town or things like that, we'd be like, yo, come to our storage unit, come shop. And it ended up being the spot where like, if you were a friend of a friend and somehow got my number or Chris's number, when you were in Richmond, you would hit us up and be like, yo, what's in the stash? And you would it was sick, and you would kind of come by our storage unit, shop it up, whatever. And then storage unit turned into our first RoundTwo store. So we had a friend actually who had a head shop on Broad Street in Richmond. That was a pretty popular street at the time, or still is. And it's actually getting more popular, but he had a small store. He was like, yo, I'm moving to Colorado. I know you guys do the storage unit thing. Like, if you want my storefront, let me know. I'll have the landlord just like sign the lease over to you. Simple, And rent was $750 a month for about, I think it was a little less than 1,000 square feet, maybe like 700 square feet or something like that. And security deposit as well was like 750. Me and Chris talked about it. We ended up pulling in our third partner, Luke, because he was doing a similar thing in the area. He was actually consigning things that he had thrifted through me, and I was just selling them for him on Instagram. You know, because this was when we had started selling, was around the inception of Instagram, or conception, sorry, of Instagram, was when Instagram first kind of came to be. So I like to say I was one of, I'm not saying I was the first, but I like to say I'm in that first group of people who was really using Instagram to kind of like put their stuff out there. Because for me, Instagram was not a way to advertise at first. It was a way for me to document the shit I was finding. I just needed somewhere to be like, yo, I found this. I want to take a picture of it, have that picture. And so it was almost like a photo album. That's how I was using Instagram. It was like a photo album for me of like my collection. And then Instagram turned into more of like the, you know, the social network thing where I was like getting followers and people were commenting. Then I was doing business through Instagram. And that's when Luke started consigning items through me. But so back to where I was at, so me and Chris got our third partner, Luke, in. We all sat down and we're like, look, we each have our personal collections. We really had like, you know, all of us had maybe saved up maybe a few $100, maybe like $1,000 each or something. That was like really as much money as we had to our names. And we were like, man, if we do this, like we got to make $30 a day to cover the rent. Like, do you think it's possible? And I was like, man, maybe one day, maybe 3 days we won't make any money, but then maybe one day someone spends 100. Then that makes up for those 3 days. Like that'd be sick, you know? So we're like, all right, how are we going to stock the store? We're like, all right, let's stock it with our personal collections that we've collected. So we finally made the move. We like pulled our funds together. We gave our land. Yeah.
Did you have it like, this is my stuff, this is Luke's stuff, or did you just put it all together and say we're all in together?
Yeah. So what we did was we had the idea. We were like, how are we going to do this first inventory? So I was like, look, how about we all go through what we have and just total it up, like what you would want to sell it for. You know what I'm saying? Like everything you have that you wouldn't mind selling, what would you sell it all for? So we each went through and totaled up our piles. Say, for example, I had $3,000 worth of shit. Chris had $2,500 worth of shit, and Luke had $2,000 worth of stuff. We all made it so where we're like, you know what? Let's have 3,000 be our equal number. So we each had to put in $3,000 worth of inventory, or we had to make up that difference in cash. Didn't have cash, so we made it up in inventory. We just went through our closets and made sure we each had around $3,000 worth of inventory to put in the store. Once we gathered that and put it in the store, it was all of ours. You know what I mean? One person didn't own their own stuff. It was, if you put it in the store, you know, I'm selling Chris's stuff, Chris is selling Luke's stuff, Luke's selling Sean's stuff. That's how it is. You know, we're one now.
And you're splitting the profits 3 ways.
Splitting the profits 3 ways, if there's any to be split. You know what I'm saying? Because we thought about it. We were like, look, if we make the rent and we don't make more than that, great. We got to spend a year being our own boss. We didn't have to listen to anybody. We messed around in the store downtown for a year. Great. We'll learn from our mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up, you know, putting all of our inventory in there. We paid our first month's rent. We didn't even pay a security deposit yet because we didn't have enough money to do like security deposit and a build out. So we took what money we had to do a build out, and we ended up doing like, we went to Home Depot, and me and Chris were like, I remember the moment we were there, we were like, what's the cheapest way to do racks? What could we possibly do that would be so cheap? So we did like cinder blocks, bricks, and that like black steel piping. And it worked out great. We did like cinder block piles, liquid nailed them together, did the bricks on top, shot the rod through the bricks, hung clothes on there, did a piece of wood on top for a shelf, and it was cool. We told people, we're like, yeah, this is like a urban look, you know what I mean? Like this, you know, we kind of tried to play it off like it was cool like that, which it was. It looked sick.
What made it take off?
I guess what made it take off. So we opened on a Saturday. We didn't really even plan on selling anything, but we just wanted like our friends to come by and see what we had created. But people ended up coming by, and like, so the day we opened, we had negative $17. We had no money. We were like, well, maybe we'll make a couple of dollars this weekend. So people started coming. Shit was just popping off. Everyone wanted to buy stuff because at that time our prices were insanely low. $5 to $10 polo shirts, $10 t-shirts. Our sneakers, we didn't have great sneakers, but it must not have been over $50 a pair. You know, it was good prices, and no one had really done that for guys in Richmond at the time. So I think that's what popped us off, is that we didn't really start in a big market. We didn't start with like a shit ton of capital. We didn't start with like the biggest store and like this huge inventory. I think it means a lot to actually start in a small area like that because it's easier to make noise. So we started in small little Richmond, maybe it's not the best place for your flagship store, but it allowed us to be the talk of the town at the time. So no one else was really doing stuff. So it's like, look, we opened up our store. People started talking about it. We made enough money in that first weekend. I think we made $2,000. And like, at that time, we felt like we were just swimming and bathing in cash, dude. Like that was the best feeling ever for us. I mean, that
when you're hoping to make $30 a day.
Yeah. I mean, yo, it was unreal. Like I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about like that was so unreal to us. And then that's when we had the idea that we were like, yo, our products get in low, which is weird. Like maybe we should do a post telling people, hey, we're buying your stuff now. So once we did that post and we were like, hey, we're buying stuff. That Monday, I think that's what really like set us off, dude. That's what really, people started coming in. They had stuff to trade. They had stuff to sell us. They wanted cash. That brought in a lot of products. So that night was actually our first night picture. You know how every night we'll do a picture of the sneakers or the clothes available the next morning? This day I'm speaking of is what created that. So we had all this stuff coming in and we were just taking pictures of it throughout the day saying, hey, this is available in store. Hey, this is available in store. We started to notice, I was like, yo, I just took a picture of those sneakers like 5 minutes ago and a dude just ran in for them. I was like, that's crazy. Like, is that for real? Like what social media can do for us, you know? And it was nuts. So once we noticed that, we were like, hey, let's save our best stuff that people will run in here for. Like that dude just ran in 5 minutes for those sneakers. Let's save those. Let's take a picture of them at the end of the night when we close. And let's tell people, hey, this is what you can expect to be in our store the next morning when you get here at 11 a.m. That changed everything. That literally changed everything.
People started lining up.
Yes, dude. That's what built our line. So the next day we were like, whoa, 4 people waiting at the store already? We haven't even opened yet? We're like, this is the line. Like, this is nuts. So that's what popped us off.
Do you have a line every day?
Every day, yeah. If it's 3 people, if it's 120 people, there's always some kind of line.
When did you like, how did you make, who made the decision to open Hollywood?
I think that was kind of a joint decision. So Hollywood came about because we started doing our show. So we started doing this web series and we had that on YouTube. We only had one friend out here in California, our friend Itai. He was our one friend out here. Maybe we had other friends, but he was like the main person who was.
So the web series.
Yeah.
Kind of launched the idea to open in LA.
Yeah. And I think the web series is what got us that like, that kind of like global eye on us too. Because before that, like I said, we were just confined to Richmond. Maybe you heard about us in DC. Maybe a few people up in NY heard about us. Maybe a little southern down to the Carolinas, you heard some shit. I don't know even who's to the left of us because I don't even know geography. So whoever's over there, maybe they heard something. But yeah, that was it. And then we did the show and Itai calls us and he's like, yo, he's like, everyone in Cali loves you guys. I'm like, we're like, what? Like, what do you mean? He's like, yo, my friends out here watch your show. We're like, no fucking way.
Did you guys start getting celebrity customers when you moved to LA or were you getting celebrity customers in Richmond?
Really just LA. I think our only celebrity customers in Richmond was Wale came through. Chris Brown had came through because we knew Chris Brown's actually from out there and he had a store, you know, kind of in the same downtown area as us. So we met his family, like his cousins and stuff, and eventually got through to him coming to the store and everything. And then David Arquette came by one time.
Randomly.
It's super random. Just completely, he was filming a movie in Richmond, Virginia, walked into our store, never heard about us before. But that was like the coolest shit ever for us, dude. Like that was the most unreal thing was meeting David Arquette. Yeah.
Because RoundTwo now has a pretty hefty celebrity clientele.
Yeah. That's all because of LA really, yo. Like I would say LA in the show because so like I said, Itai told us, he's like, yo, look, people out in California are watching your show. You guys should come out here so I can introduce you to everyone. Chris and Luke ended up coming out here and, you know, Itai took him to like Undefeated and all these other stores and everyone's like, oh, yo, what's up? You know, Chris and Luke from RoundTwo, what's up? And I remember Chris would call me and he'd be like, we just walk into stores and people are familiar with us because of the show. He was like, I didn't know people out here were watching it like that. And that's when Chris was like, dude, maybe we should, you know, consider doing a store out in Los Angeles. Like, it might be cool. I think we might kill it out here. It's on the other side of the country. And meanwhile, in Richmond, there must have been 6 copycat stores that opened, get this, within like 5 miles of us. So our area there was getting oversaturated. We needed to grow because our business was growing fat. We had moved from our small 750 square foot store to like a 2,500 square foot store, another block down. And we were using our old store as our web store. So we were like, you know what, let's do LA. So
So who stayed back to run Richmond?
Yeah, so Luke stayed back to run Richmond, and then me and Chris moved out here to LA. Itai was like our one homie out here in LA. He was showing us around. Like Itai brought me to Melrose one day. When we were looking for stores, that was when I ran into Ian Connor and Bari, ASAP Bari for the first time, and Itai introduced me to Bari. I had already kind of like, I guess me and Ian kind of knew of each other through just Instagram. He had gotten a pair of Vans through someone from our store in Virginia. So he just knew what RoundTwo was. He didn't know me, I guess, but I introduced him myself. And those were like my three first connections out here was Itai, Ian, and Bari. And between them, like I owe a lot of the connections to Ian, honestly, and Bari, dude. Like they got me hip to everyone, you know? The
vintage thing has become a trend.
It's nuts.
It's become huge.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were the trendsetter or you were right place, right time?
I was right place, right time, but I think my right place, right time had a lot to do with, you know, the trend actually being set by those trendsetters. Because there were trendsetters at the time, but I don't think I was anywhere really near that. But I think what they were doing, I was kind of maybe feeding off it, and I was just around, you know, I was just around it, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it was right place, right time. I don't think I was ever setting any kind of trend, but I think I was like, you know, in that community of people who were setting trends, being as I had just met Ian and Bari and them, and Ian was kind of, I guess he was like Mr. Trendsetter, you know what I mean? He started so many different fads and styles. So
where did I guess the biggest trend to come out of that was the retro ones. Vintage retro ones are huge right now.
I love it.
Where does that come from?
So, my love for the Jordan 1 is pretty deep. Like I said, I love skateboarding. Like skateboarding is my thing. I hated when Nike got into the skateboarding world back in the day because everyone remembers, dude, Nike was this corporate thing and you didn't want to see it hit skateboarding. Anyways, I fell in love with Nike. They had a great team. P-Rod pushed them. It was dope. I got into the dunks. Once I got into dunks and Nike SB, it kind of got me into the Jordans and stuff like that. And then when I picked up a Jordan 1 and I flipped it over, I was like, I got my first pair of 85 Jordan 1s actually thrifting in Richmond, Virginia. I pick them up, turn them over. I didn't know what to look at to see like how old the shoe was, but in my head, I'm like, this is a vintage shoe. I turned it over and I was like, yo, this Jordan 1 has the same sole as a Nike Dunk. And so that is the moment when I started falling in love with Jordan 1s because I loved that Nike Dunk sole. So I started to fall in love with Jordan 1s, dude, and that just became my thing. Like, to me, there's nothing better than like that original Chicago pair or the Carolinas or the Breads. And it's just like, they're beautiful, yo. And I just love that shoe. And I think that shoe specifically, so why it's popular now or why it's began to, be like the trend now, it's got a lot of history, dude. There's so many people can relate to that sneaker. Like you think
guys like A$AP Rocky and Travis Scott are wearing it because of the history or because of the look?
I think it's both for them, specifically for Rocky and Travis. Like I know for a fact that those two dudes specifically have a lot of appreciation for the history of what they wear. And that's why I love A$AP Rocky. That's why I love dealing with Travis Scott and dudes like that, because they aren't the new rapper that you think that just is on whatever wave they want to be on. You know what I mean? Like these dudes, they appreciate the history of it. Like they have memories of maybe being at their uncle's house or whoever's house, or maybe they have an older brother that they remember he would always watch the game, or he was a Jordan fan, or he was wearing them. So I think them specifically, those two, I think a lot of what goes into them wearing the Jordan 1s, yeah, it's the fashion, it's the style. It's got that like used vintage look that looks sweet with what, their aesthetic. But then again, also those two, it's a lot of the history of the shoe, dude. Like whether it's nostalgia for them or if they watched, Jordan play on TV when they were younger, whatever that may be, I think there's a lot of history in it for them, or else they wouldn't,
If you had to credit one person for starting that trend, that Peter Jordan 1 trend, who would you say it was?
I couldn't even credit one person. I wouldn't know who to point that finger to. I feel like it's kind of just, I like saying that it's just the community. Like there's a whole community behind that Jordan 1, behind the nostalgia of it, behind the history of it, and people are connecting to it. And it's just like between all those people doing that, that's what's responsible. I don't think I could ever pinpoint it to one person, because you could always say otherwise. So I'd rather say that there was a group of people that were all putting this sneaker on, and that's probably why, you know, because it just has a good look, you know. It really, even people who know nothing about the shoe, when I bring them into the gallery, like I'm in the gallery right now, when I bring them in here and I show them the Jordan 1s, it has this, like, it resonates with people, dude. It's just one of those things that it can speak to someone. So it's just, the Jordan 1's responsible for it itself too. It's just such a great shoe, you know. I would say Michael Jordan's to blame, whatever, you know. He's the greatest of all time, so it only makes sense that his shoe would hold that high of like a power in the fashion world or whatever, you know.
So you get a call from Nike.
Yeah.
Was it out of the blue?
Yo, it was pretty much out of the blue. I'll tell you what I think kind of led into it. I had a relationship with Nike. There was people that I talked to there, and like I would go to their events, meet as many people as I could. I love Nike, dude. So I could talk these motherfuckers' ears off for hours. You want to talk to me about Nike? Great, I'll talk to you about Nike. You work for Nike? Great, I got some questions and I got a lot to talk about. So I would meet all these people. One day I was just sitting at my house, dude, just randomly, and I wanted to shoot Kristen, who's one of the ladies I deal with at Nike. I was like, I just want to shoot her an email and just be like, hey, like, this is how much I love Nike Air Max. And if you guys ever need me to like do anything with the Air Max, just know that like I'm putting myself out there. I'm down. I would love to do whatever idea y'all got for the Air Max. So she called me one day just out of the blue. I just got done at the car wash, and when she called, I was like, I should pull over for this. Like, this is one to pull over for. And she was like, hey, you know how, you know, you told me how much you love the Air Max shoe, and you know how you told me like that you're down to kind of do whatever idea we had. She's like, I think I have an opportunity for you. And that's when I was like, I started to get all like jittery. I'm like, no way. I'm like, what's the opportunity? And then she started talking about how Nike the previous year had done this thing called Vote Back, where they had everyone vote back like an older Air Max. You know, you're familiar with that. And
Sure.
So she explained that, and as she's explaining that, I'm like, no way. And then she was like, well, this year we want to choose, 12 people to all design their own Air Max, and we want you to be one of them. And I just like, dude, I was freaking out.
Were you going bananas?
Yeah, I was going actually bananas. I was like yelling, just like, no, fuck. Like, dude, I was going super, super bananas in the car. Like, thank God I pulled over. You know what I mean? Like, I was going super bananas. That was the call that was like, holy shit. Like, my dream is about to come true. Like, this is so crazy, you know? Like, I'm about to design a Nike shoe. It was nuts. And I didn't even know many details at that time. She just kind of gave me the overview. And within 30 seconds, I was thinking of designs. Within 30 seconds, I'm like, all right, materials, colors, da-da-da-da-da. It just took over my life from there.
So did you come up with the design by yourself?
Yeah, so I came up with what I wanted to. So Nike told me, they were like, all right, look, we want you to do, if you have a community of sneakerheads or collectors or people you want to bring together, we'd love if you could bring them together and try to brainstorm for your sneaker. We want you to go to Nike campus with ideas in mind. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, for me to organize this in my head, I was like, let me come up with 3 ideas that I really like. And then when I go meet up with all the homies, all that group I put together, my like not really focus group. That's the fucking homies. It's not a focus group. Like, those are the homies. So I was like,
who was in the group?
All right, it was Ben Baller. I chose him because he's like old school sneakerhead, new school sneakerhead, wears sneakers, collects them. He's in it. He's got an opinion. I love it. You know what I'm saying? ASAP Nast, same thing. Like, I love Nast's style. I know he's gotten a specific opinion on sneakers. I know he has a very specific style. He's from New York. I love it. I want his opinion. My homie Skate the Great on Instagram. Like, again, I chose people who I thought had a unique style or had an opinion on sneakers or felt some type of way towards things. So it was Skate, my homie Rich from Virginia, the Kaji family, Franelations, my boy Alex, Julian.
Your squad.
Yeah, I assembled my squad.
You guys all just start brainstorming?
Yeah, so before I met up with the squad, I came up with 3 ideas where I'm like, all right, cool. I want to talk to them about corduroy. I want to talk to them about the Air Max 97 on the Air Max 1. I came up with like what I wanted, and so I wanted to relay that to them and be like, yo, I'm looking at y'all as the community, as my customer almost. Like, how do you guys feel about that? What can I change? What can we all do? What's your idea? So when we all sat down, I would be like, all right, I'm thinking 97 on the Air Max 1. What do you guys think? And we would open it up, and people would be like, nah, hell no, or yes, or this is why, or this is why. And we kind of started to dissect my ideas, and my idea turned into something completely different, given everyone's opinions. But it's something that like, I would never have put something into production that I didn't think was like the shit, So it was like,
do you feel like, did you think it was tough? Like, was it tough for you to outsource that project a little bit, as opposed to kind of take it off? Like, you're like, here it is.
Yeah, I feel
your opportunity of a lifetime, your dream, to design your own shoe. How do you not say this? I'm doing this all me. What was the difference?
That's always what I tell myself in my head. So no matter what the situation is, I'm doing what I want to do no matter what. But I figured, what's the harm of getting some people who I really respect their opinions, ideas on this, So that's why I wouldn't even consider it like really outsourcing. I just wanted to bring in who I thought were prominent in the sneaker world or had, powerful opinions. And I wanted to know, because look, this, like you said, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. It meant so much to me. It still means so much to me to win that contest. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, you know what? I'm not just going to go into this with what Sean Wotherspoon wants. And that's only what I want. I was like, I'm going to bring these dudes in. I'm going to run by what I want, and I'm going to see how they feel about it. And, and I need that because I want to win this. You know what I'm saying? So like, I want to know what their opinion is, because sometimes what I want isn't what everyone else wants, And as much as I know it's my thing, it's like, look, I want to win this. So I wanted my sneaker to appeal to the people too.
One of the questions as we led up to this episode, one of the questions somebody asked me to ask you was, how do you handle situations where someone brings your shoe into RoundTwo to resell?
I give them the biggest dap ever. I say, hell yeah, thanks for buying these shits.
Okay,
so how much you want for them? Like, I love that.
No reservations about like.
Hell no, dude. I'm hoping they come in, because for me, say 100 people bring my sneaker in to sell me. That's 100 people who bought my shoe retail. Like, that's dope, dude. And that means that they saw.
But Sean, everybody's going to buy the shoe. The shoe's going to sell out in a day.
I hope so.
Seconds.
I hope so. That's what I'm hoping. Like, we'll see. And that's why
I would imagine it's. Well, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Number one, do you think the shoe would do as well if it was a wide release?
Okay.
Versus it's probably going to be a smaller drop.
I think it's going to be a wider release than people think. Again, I don't know Nike hasn't told me the details on the release yet, so I'm just speaking off of like speculation, but I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit wider of a release than people think. I would think it's going to be comparable to the Masters release this year. I know that wasn't like a super wide release.
But that was only like tier 0 boutiques only.
Yeah, but to me, that's like coming from a guy who's designed his own Air Max shoe. Like, I think tier 0 boutiques is like fairly wide. There's tier 0 accounts in all countries, so it's like, to me, that's pretty sick. But again, I don't know. I think there's two different people who would be happy or sad about how the shoe gets released. Look, and I've talked to everyone about it. I always ask people, like, dudes, kids, everyone comes up to the back counter at RoundTwo and they're like, yo, is it going to be limited? Do you want it to be limited? I'm like, I don't care. I'm never going to be able to make people happy. Nike can never make everyone happy. So we're just going to do what you can. It's like, look, if you make a wide release and you make enough pairs for everyone to get them, then everyone's going to talk shit because, oh, this shoe's sitting on shelves. There's those people who are like, all disciplined. I'm not going to wear these. Everyone's got them. I don't want to wear this. They're too easy to get. They're too wide range. Like, there was no problem getting these. They're still sitting in stores. And then there's gonna be the people who, if you did a limited release, they're like, man, you should have done more stores. Everyone should have got a pair. And then there's
obviously,
you know what I mean? So it just kind of sucks. So I'm like, whatever. I don't care if it's a big release, great. Everyone gets to have them and everyone will be happy. Then there will also be sour people because they want it to be more limited. If it's a more limited release,
are
great.
You going to get a size run at RoundTwo at your 2 RoundTwo stores to sell at retail?
I'm going to do my damn best to. That's what I hope. I would love to get a set for RoundTwo VA, RoundTwo Los Angeles, drop some on our website. But again, I don't know. There's a lot of like legal stuff that goes on with Nike. So I don't know if I'd be able to sell those or how it works out. Honestly, I'm hoping that people just bring them in to sell me. That might be my best opportunity to resell my own shoe, is for people to buy them retail, sell them to RoundTwo, and then we resell them. So I was always telling people, like, when I first heard about the thing, I was like, man, if I win, I was like, I'm going to see if Nike will let me buy 200 pairs of my sneakers so I can give them away for free one weekend, you know, because I like doing that kind of stuff. Like, that'd be fun. And I feel like, of course, I could never give away enough free pairs, but I feel like everyone deserves it, you know. I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without like the push from the community. So I feel like it'd be nice to be able to give back somehow.
Do your partners ever feel a type of way that you've become the face of the franchise?
Maybe in like moderation, but I don't think so much. Like we all have like our place with round two for where we kind of shine. You know what I'm saying? Like we've all kind of done what we've done, but I mean, I work hard for.
If I'm Luke or I'm Chris,
yeah.
am I feeling like, shit, man, we all did this together, but Sean's the one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's,
you know, he's the one.
I like to say from the beginning, like my personality is like, I'm a leader, you know, even in elementary school, I hate, my last name's a W. I was always caboosing the fucking line. I hated that. Like, I want to be line leader for no specific reason. Like, I'm just a leader by nature. So I think like maybe I think I would like to say that I kind of took hold of the round two project from square one. And I would like to say that I was probably the leader of it. You know what I mean? Like I took it by the horns, or like I would push a little harder and this and that. And not that Chris and Luke didn't, but I think I just had the actual vision of like, yo, this is what can come of this. This is what can come of this. Not everyone's blessed with a vision. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone is, but I had this vision. So I think, you know, Luke has the things that he does for round two that honestly we wouldn't be anywhere without Luke doing what he does. Same thing for Chris. But I mean, it's round two, you get out of it what you put into it. So it's like, I kind of like, I put my entire life into it and I work my goddamn ass off. So I think I get what I kind of deserve, you know? I think I kind of get what I've worked for.
Still 30% down the way?
Yeah, we're still even. And I think Chris and Luke like it though, because it's like, look, as much as I push the store and every good thing that happens to me, you know that there's residual on round two for that. You know, whether it's dipping the sneaker or whether it's me, you know, getting global recognition on the Nike sportswear thing, that's driving all business to round two. And that's just
rewind for a second.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment for you, the dipping the sneaker.
Yo, that was crazy. That unexpectedly was like big. Like what the hell? Yeah, like what the hell happened? Like, yo, it was.
So for anybody who doesn't know, tell them.
Yeah, so I dipped a pair of Jordan 5s, a pair of white Jordan 5s when they came out in red paint. My homies filmed it. We didn't think it would ever be cool. We literally did it for ourselves. Like, we just wanted to hang them on the ceiling because it looked cool with our red ceiling. And next thing I know, yo, like a friend put the video on the internet, didn't check Instagram the rest of the day. No reason to, you know what I mean? Nothing was going on. I fucking go to sleep. I wake up. I look at my Instagram the next morning. I'm like, oh, wow. I got 5,000 followers somehow. What is going on? And I started going to posts I was tagged in. Next thing I knew, I was like, holy shit, this sneaker dip thing just went viral somehow. Like, what the hell happened? And then Complex hits me up. They're like, hey, we want to come to the store and do an interview. I'm just like, this is nuts. Cool. I'll take it. You know? So for example, things like that, it's like, dude, that people come in the store every day taking a picture of those dip sneakers. It still blows my mind. Still blows my mind. Dudes come in the store like, you're the guy who dipped the sneakers. I'm like, holy shit, how did that blow up like that? Like, that's the power of social media, you know? Like, it's nuts. But so like, for example, things like that brought great business to the store, put tons of money in anyone's pockets. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's cool. And it brings more product into the store too. So we're able to like, the more people who find out about us, whether it's to me, Chris, or Luke, that's the more people who are bringing in the fire that we can give them cash and then we can sell it. So it's cool. Like, I don't know, I feel it works out.
So you're doing personally less thrifting, less shopping, less looking for inventory now because you're getting so much from.
Exactly. Yeah. It's coming in. So, you know, before I would be going to thrift stores every day. That was, I wouldn't have a day without going to a thrift store. I don't have as much time for it now between the little man and the stores and everything. So, I mean, dude, the product walks into us. We get shit, dude. I think like just to throw like a number out there, like, dude, we spent over $500,000 buying like every month at round two. You know, like we cash people out. So it's like there's stuff coming in. Like we have stuff constantly coming in, but as fast as it comes in, it's leaving. So I don't need to be at thrift stores every day looking for stuff because it's coming in. But so much leaves our store that there are times when I need to go to I go to the Rose Bowl flea market every month. I get enough inventory there to kind of like stock our vintage sections for at least a couple weeks until the next Rose Bowl. I go to flea markets every Sunday down the street from my house on Melrose. And that's like, I'll get enough product there to kind of stock us for like maybe a week. So at least like in our vintage sections.
For round two going forward?
We just kind of take it as it comes. That's our thing. We don't.
Is there plans for additional locations? I mean, what do you?
There's ideas for additional locations, and we kind of we do our thing, we work, and then once that opportunity comes up, then we take advantage of it. We're doing a New York store. Chris is moving out there actually this next Sunday. So Chris is moving out there. He's gonna get the New York store started. It should be open within like 2 months. Then after New York's open,
where in New York?
The Soho area.
Soho. That's
yeah.
Perfect.
We have a few different locations that we're gonna keep in mind. So once Chris moves out there, he's gonna finalize one. We'll be sure to advertise the shit out of it. It'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, we really want to get out of the country. I think it'd be cool to do some stores other places. We did a Paris and London pop-up that went amazing. So maybe like you'll see us out there sometime soon. We want to get out in Japan and do a pop-up, which would be pretty cool. I think we're almost done with the United States. You know, like maybe a couple more stores out here, but it's just filling up. There's a lot of stores like us opening now. So we kind of want to step out of this into another market or something, or, you know, another country.
Have you thought about selling it, cashing out and walking away from it?
Not really. We get a lot of offers and stuff like that. It's just like no reason to, you know, this is like our thing. We love it. It makes me beyond happy. You know, this is kind of like, even if we probably never get rid of it, man. We love it. We love RoundTwo so much, you know, and it's kind of like, to me, it would be corny if we sold it. Like, this shit would suck. You know, we're the life force of it. So I couldn't do that to the world.
Well, that was my next question. Do you think that the store, if you sold it, do you think that the store would do as well, or do you think it does well because it's you guys?
I think it does well because it's us. I think that's been our main thing, is a lot of stores based their success on the store itself. And that's what kind of bothered us being a customer of those stores. Like, I love Flight Club beyond belief. I love Riff beyond belief. I love all these stores. Supreme, like, absolutely love them. Like, all the employees there, everyone, those are like good. I love it, love it. But when we would shop those stores, it's just like, for me, I'm like, look, I'm a sneakerhead. If I walk into a sneaker store, I should automatically be best friends with everyone working there because we have this great thing in common, right? And so it was really disappointing to me to walk into sneaker stores, any sneaker store or a clothing store, and it's like these people aren't really like conversing with you or like, you know, trying to. And I get it. You get a lot of people walking in your store, so you can't be cool as shit with everyone. You know what I mean? But you can at least try. So it would bother us. You know, it would bother us. So we were like, you know, let's try to make ourselves like the life of the store and not really the product. Because again, when we started, we didn't have the most mind-blowing product. So we were trying to win people over with, you know, we're just trying to kill them with kindness, because I feel like that's what you would go home and talk about. So like our thing was, we were like, man, if 3 people come into our store one day and they don't buy anything, we at least got to give them the best experience possible. So they go home and then they'll talk about it. And if they talk about it to another person, then that person might turn into 3 people. And that was what we really just wanted. We were like, yo, let's try to make ourselves like what people want to come here for, because we're personable. You can talk to us, you can hang here, you can chill. And that's what we try to do. And I think it worked, you know?
You credit the show for being the engine that really bumped you guys, that really pushed you forward. How did the show come about? And what's the evolution as the store has evolved, as you've evolved? What's the evolution of the show?
Yeah, so the show started actually, I just had a random idea one day. My homie Graham, who does the show, he does all the production, he does the filming, he does the editing. Like, he's one-man team, dude. It's crazy. We help him with.
So every shot you see, he filmed.
He filmed it and he edited it and he did everything. And we help with the production a little bit, but straight up, it's all Graham. Like, he's absolutely mind-blowing. But so Graham, when we were younger, he filmed our skate videos. He would take our pictures of us skating. He did like my sponsor me tape, you know, when I was young. And so in my head, like, I don't know, Graham was one of my best friends. He actually was living in LA and doing like work on TV shows. But then I looked at his Instagram one day and he was like all depressed, dude. He had broke up with his girlfriend who he had been with from like high school. And he just didn't seem like he was like having fun, you know? And so I told my girlfriend, Ashley, I was like, I think I'm gonna hit up Graham. There was an apartment for rent above our store in Richmond. I was like, I think I'm just gonna like offer to pay for his apartment out here. And by me doing that, in exchange, I'm gonna ask for him just to turn on his camera every day and film everything we do for no specific reason, not for people to watch, but for ourselves. Because I was like, yo, we are all going to kick ourselves in the ass 20 years down the road. Whether the store is successful or not, we're going to kill ourselves if we don't have this documented. Like, we got to document this.
Essentially hired your own personal photographer.
Yeah, exactly. We told Graham, we're like, yo, look, we're going to put you in this apartment above the store. We'll pay for it. We just want you filming everything that goes on in or around the store every day. And he started filming it. We would all watch it. And we're like, yo, this is sick. Like, this can be a show. Like, we can do this on YouTube for sure. So then Graham put a little bit of structure to it, added in some music. We put that first episode on YouTube, and it was like super raw. Like, everything you saw in that first episode was like super real. Like, Quincy coming to work drunk, Quincy coming to work late. Like, that was real shit, dude. That was like so real and raw. And we dropped that first episode, and people loved it, dude. They loved it. It was like the Pawn Stars of like the sneaker world at the time.
So now he's in LA with you.
Yeah. So now Graham's out here. So yeah, the evolution of the show. We get through our first season. And that's our first season was all at our store in Virginia. Then the start of our second season was the grand opening of our LA store. So that was pretty sick. So then we moved Graham out here with us. Oh shit! Actually, I think Graham was
still paying his rent.
Yeah, we were paying his rent. I think at that time, after the first season, we actually started paying him a little more. So instead of just like paying his rent, we were just giving him a check, and that was covering his rent plus whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I think Graham was actually still living in Virginia when we moved out here. And when we moved out here, he flew out. He filmed the grand opening, and then he also filmed what was going on at the Virginia store like the previous week. And then that's when we made the decision that we were like, all right, now our episodes, we're gonna fly Graham here once every 2 weeks, and now our episodes are gonna be half and half, like round two Richmond, round two LA, and you can kind of see what's going on at both stores. And then from flying Graham back and forth all these times, Graham's like, yo, I really love LA. Is there any way you guys can just station me in LA and I'll fly back and forth from Richmond? We're like, hell yeah, why not? So we got our gallery space. We gave him like a little office upstairs where he can do his thing. So Graham's like centrally located here. I think he lives pretty close by here in Hollywood. So like, it's dope. He moved out here with us, got it going.
Now, have you guys been shopping the show to make it into a real reality TV show and transition out of YouTube, or is it always going to live there?
Us personally, like, we're not making any moves, dude. We've had offers from literally everybody. You name the channel, you name the network, you name the direct, you name it, we've got an offer from them. Like, this show would have been
offers from network TV shows and cable TV shows, and you're not
everyone, nothing, because we want nothing to do with it. Again, you got to remember, this show it's not something that we're trying to make a ton of money off of. We have a lot of fun with it.
Hang on a second, Sean.
Yeah.
Even if you're not trying, sometimes you're not trying to make money off something.
Yeah. But
you strike gold. If you're sitting on a lotto ticket, why not cash it in?
Hey, if I was sitting on a lotto ticket, I'd cash it in. This is a little different. This is more personal than a lotto ticket. You know what I mean?
Right,
this is our
networks coming to you saying, "Listen, we love what you're doing.
Yeah.
We want to put it on TV."
Here's what it does. Here's what we have to do. It's not that easy. So if we want to put it on TV, guess what? They want to script the whole thing. They want to bring in their filmer, which guess what? Now my friend doesn't have a job. So I don't care about that. I don't care. I'd rather work with
you. Can't negotiate?
I'm sure we could negotiate. Yeah. You can negotiate all you want. But the underlying factor is like, look, we don't want to have to script it. We don't want to have to bleep it. We don't want to have to use their music. We don't want to have to do this. Like, we've been through it. We've been to meetings, we've been to lunches.
And none of those networks will let you do it your way.
They will let you do it your way, but then again, if it's your way, it's tough to get into that. You know what I mean? It's never going to be how raw it is on YouTube on a network or something. So I think what we're doing is we got a lot of stuff coming with the show without getting too deep into it, but we're going to be like separating it from YouTube kind of at our own pace, but it'll be something coming up soon, but that's the kind of thing where the show for us is strictly fun. It's strictly for the enjoyment of our customer. All of our customers see it on YouTube. It's not like putting it on TV. More of our customers will see it. Look, we get millions of minutes watched on YouTube. We don't use our own music, so we get absolutely no ad dollars off it. We make $0 on the show. We get good residual money off it because look, it's exposing us to the entire world. So when you come to LA, when you come to Richmond, you're making sure for a damn fact you go to RoundTwo, because people find out now about our show before they find out about our Instagram, which to me is pretty cool. So you're kind of finding our show on YouTube. Then when you're there, when you're, you know, in one of these states or cities, you're making sure to go to our store. A network's not enhancing us in any way besides putting money in our pocket, you know? It's not giving us more freedom, because right now we have as much freedom as possible. You know, we don't have to answer to anybody. We don't have to follow any rules. There's absolutely no red tape.
Greater viewership if you have a network behind you.
You said viewership?
You don't think you catch more eyes? I'm
sure we would, but are those eyes?
That's a benefit to you in the store.
It is, but I guess it's not something that we're really looking at that intense. It's like, look, I think we're happy with the business we get. Again, we're not trying to like, I'm not in this to be like, oh man, I got to make as much money as possible. I got to get as many people in the store as possible. Like, look, our store is packed beyond belief. I would actually hate to God if we had to make people wait any longer in line. I'm dreading more people finding out about our store right now, because if so, it's going to go from waiting 20 minutes in line to an hour and a half. I'm pretty happy with how it is right now. So
yeah. Right now,
yeah,
just to walk in the door, not even in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, you got to wait an hour and a half just to get in the door?
No. I'm saying it would be an hour and a half if we got to that point where it's like, hey, now we're on national television and now it sucks. You know, now you're in line for hours and it's terrible. Now I've asked people, it's like on our longest line day, 100 people in line, it's like a 20-30 minute wait, which sucks. You know what I mean? But granted, that's on our busiest day. And I would hate, like, we don't, you know what I'm saying? We're not like a huge chain. We don't have like 1 million stores in America. So if we were on national TV, it's not like, you know, those customers would be split up between stores and you wouldn't really see like exponential growth in shoppers in that specific store. So it's like, if we were to do something crazy big like that right now, it would blow our stores completely out of the water. And that's not the growth process that we like. You know, we like slow, manageable, easy growth, because that's what always worked for us. And I think that's the most tasteful growth as well. I'm not trying to put this show on TV and have a bunch of know-nothings come into our store. I hate that. I love our customers right now. I think we're actually blessed with like the best customer base ever. Our customers are like trained on how our store works. You know, they're like true fans of our store, and they know how it works. They know us very personally because of our show. And, you know, that's another thing we would lose. If we send it to a network, we'd lose like the personality in it. Like, yo, people come in the store, I swear to God, dudes come in all day, like dap me up, like, yo, what up, Sean? How you been? And I'm like, I feel like this is like an old homie of mine, you know? I'm like, where do I know this dude from? Nah, this is the dude's first time meeting me, or Luke or Chris or Carlos or Frankie or any of our employees, but they feel like they've known us forever because they've been watching us on the show. And I feel like a lot of that identity, a lot of that personality would be very lost in the mix of like handing it over to a network or things like that. We've thought about like our most tasteful option is like a licensing thing, you know, where it's kind of like we film our show, we do it how we want it. And we kind of we would tell Netflix, like, hey, you can license 10 of our episodes from us if you want, but this is our episode. It's not changing. We're filming it. We're doing our thing. Licensing is like what we would get into, you know, we would never fully hand it over or anything like that, but we would let someone be like, hey, you really like our show? You really want to put it on your Netflix or whatever it is? Great. Take it. You can have these 10 episodes. You can run it for 6 months, you know, like however it is. But
do you think that the store has a shelf life? Do you think that, you know how to, I mean,
I get it. Yeah. I get it. I think so. Like we haven't really put much time into building our brand, you know, separate from what we do as far as the buy, sell, trade. But I think we're to a point where enough people know about us and enough people want to just like show love to the store that our merch sells well. You know, like we sell out of merch anytime we do it. Granted, we don't do like super mass amounts. We used to do a couple hundred shirts, but I mean, they're always gone. You know, people love them. So I think if it was the kind of thing where we turned it into like a merch brand and you know, sold it in different stores and things like that, I think it would do well. It's something that we've also talked to people about, you know, just different stores in Japan and stuff like that about possibly carrying, or stores in China about like possibly carrying RoundTwo gear, you know, and it's something that we've explored. I think it has a shelf life, dude. I think we've kind of broken the barrier of like, look, it's kind of like it's like a shirt. It's like when you want to buy a Crocodile Hunter shirt or when you want to buy like a Pawn Stars shirt, you know what I mean? It's like something like people watch our YouTube and even if they haven't been to the store, it's like they want to buy a shirt just to show the respect of like, yo, I watched this show on YouTube. It's sick, you know? So and that's a cool customer to hit because that's someone who's not necessarily like a hype beast or whatever it is. That's someone who's just like, hey, this is a cool show. I know nothing about what the hell they're dealing with, but I'd love to wear their shirt because I watched the show, you know?
Do you think that the vintage, used, worn stuff do you think that that'll fade?
Never.
Never. You think forever
Never.
it'll be?
Forever.
Now, you guys have to be very hip to trends, though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
your buying patterns has to change in order for that to continue.
Yo, that's the craziest thing, is staying hot with the trends. That's why I'm like, people love to say, oh, look at Sean on the ASAP Rocky guest stripe wave. Da 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 da. Yeah, I'm on that fucking wave. You want to know why? Because I own a business who needs to make money off keeping hip to the trends. So people like to talk shit and be like, oh man, look at Sean. Look, ASAP Rocky's doing guest stripes. Now Sean's on it. Now Sean's on it. Look, what you see Sean getting on, that's because I need to do that. I need to stay current. I need to do that for my store, to sell in the store. I need to stay hip to what's going on and make sure that I'm pushing it and stuff like that. But also what people don't realize is me and my girlfriend were buying guest stripe shirts 8 years ago, you know? Like there is no, maybe we weren't like buying 20 of them and posting it all over the internet or whatever it was. But look, like it's never like your first time doing something. It's just, I'm like revisiting that, you know? So when I see something popping off, so it's like,
how do you separate your personal relationships from guys like Rocky and some of those other guys to the business? Like those guys come in your store and spend. You're not giving them stuff.
No, we kind of made
that. How do you separate that? Those relationships.
Because I think people get it, yo. They're like, they're not coming to, they know we're not trying to rip them off. So I think people have that confidence in us that like, look, you're shopping at RoundTwo. Yeah, you're paying for stuff, but also I'm doing my best. Like I'm handpicking almost everything in here. I'm making very sure that when I'm picking things out, it is the most unique item. If you can find it somewhere else, I'm making sure that we're at least comparable or beating their price. You know what I mean? If it's not a one of one, like when you're coming into RoundTwo, when you're coming to our gallery, when you shop our racks, you're really finding a lot of stuff you can't find anywhere else. So a lot of people feel lucky just to be able to purchase that item from us. So that's why I think Rocky and all them, like, they're cool with not being like, oh man, like, you know, Sean doesn't give us a bunch of free stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I think they're just happy to be shopping our selection. I think they really just love it. And that's why I love all those dudes, all those ASAP dudes and Yachty especially. And like everyone who we deal with, they really appreciate just the fact that like, look, we're making this available to you. They shop a lot of stores. Yo, Travis goes to a lot of stores where he's like, man, they won't sell me shit. You know, he's like, I offered him as much as I could and they wouldn't sell it to me. And then I'm like, well, I got one here. Take it for whatever you want, you know? Like everything's for sale around RoundTwo. We'll always sell it to you.
Do you give those guys preference? Do you let them, like, you know, if they see something you post on the Instagram, like you talked the night before, right?
Yeah.
You post up, if they see something and hit you like, Sean, can I get this?
Absolutely no one gets that privilege. We're very, very serious about it. We had it happen a few times in the past where we would like pull something for a friend from the night picture. And then that customer who waited in line in the morning came into our store and that item wasn't there. Yo, heartbroken. Couldn't watch it ever happen again. So we like made the decision on that time. We're like, yo, this is, if there's any rule that we have that is like our solid rule, if it's in the fucking night picture, it stays in the goddamn night picture. Like, yo, we have to disappoint people all the time. Like Yachty hits me with the text at night. He's like, bro, pull this, please. And I'm like, yo, if it's still there at 11:30 tomorrow, I got you, you know? And he's like, thank you, bro. Thank you. Like they get it. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone gets it. There's this respect there, dude. Like we're trying our best to just be cool with everyone and
now,
respect
if you come
everyone.
across something that you think one of those guys would like.
I'm hitting them up ASAP. Like I said, I'm shopping constantly for everyone. Everyone who, if you shop with me, I am watching what you pick out. I'm taking note of like, dude, I don't have much going on in my brain besides this stuff. I save all my brain space for these kind of things. I know your size. I know what colors you're drawn to. I know what brands you like. I know how you wear your clothes. I know how you style it. I know the outfits you wear for certain occasions. This is all the stuff that's going on in my head. So when I'm shopping, like I'm constantly keeping stuff in mind for these dudes. And that's also why they have this respect and love shopping with us, is because they know for a fact you could not talk to me for 6 months. If I see something that you like, I'm going to grab it for you, yo. And I'm going to hit you up and be like, yo, they couldn't even pass this up, you know? So that's constantly what I'm doing, is searching for these dudes and like, you know, trying to pick out things and things that I think that they would kill it on stage with, or that might get them good recognition on social media. I'm like, yo, I got this for you. Like, you got to rock this at your next show. Like, kids are going to love it, dude. They're going to love you for this one. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just trying to help, you know? I'm trying to enhance everyone's life as much as possible without fucking shit up. I don't know. It's like, it kind of just all works out together. It's like the whole pay it forward thing, dude. Like it just works out. Like we got this perpetual great thing going on right now.
Who do you look to to be trend relevant? Like, who do you look to know which direction that trend is going?
Japan, London, anywhere but America. I mean, I follow a lot of like random Japanese vintage stores, Chinese vintage stores, like stores in Indonesia, or like just pickers in Jakarta, like just dudes anywhere who are picking things and finding things, because America, whatever's popping off here, that's usually what was popular somewhere else previously. So that's what I'm always trying to do, is like watch these dudes in Japan. Like when I'm at the flea market, my biggest competition are Japanese buyers, dude. They're so fucking good at what they do, man. They're so good at it, and they have this amazing market in Japan, and like just they're so good, dude. So I'm watching them shop. I'm watching what they're picking up, and I'm like, yo, that dude picked up, he's buying like 1980s Militaria. I'm going to keep that in mind. Next thing I know, after watching what these dudes pick up and watching what they buy, I'm starting to notice a pattern of like, you know what? I saw a bunch of Japanese dudes picking up, early 2000s FUBU and stuff like that 6 months ago. That shit's popping right now. And I started to recognize this like trend of like, whatever I see these dudes picking, it ends up coming, popping off in the States. So I'm just taking note. I'm very receptive, when I'm watching people shop, or even Rocky and all those dudes. Like I look to them, I look to Ian, I look to Rocky, to Virgil, to Bari. They're traveling the world. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these dudes are traveling the world. They're exposed to all these different markets, and they're the ones that are bringing these different styles back here for us. So I'm just making sure that I stay, as close in tune with them as possible. Talk to them as much as possible. I'm like, yo, when you're out there in Japan, let me know what you're finding. Let me know what is selling well for them. Like, let me know what they have the most of. Yo, when you're in freaking Dubai, let me know what sneakers they need. You know what I mean? Like, let me know what they're buying the most of from the US. Like, let me know what they sell, like what they tell you. Oh, you're from the US. Like, I wish I could get this over here. Like, I need to know, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I need to know like what they're wearing out there. I just have to know, because that all relates to what is going to be popular here eventually, and if you stay in tune with the right people in the right places, you can kind of just call it, like, I feel like I could write an almanac for the next 15 years of like what's going to become popular. All you got to do is go through patterns and trends and just watch people, and it all just becomes pretty relevant. So I'm just watching that, and I'm making sure I stay hip to it. I have stuff like packed away that I think is going to be popular down the road. I have a storage unit full of stuff that I consider to be like perfectly worn items, or, I have stuff stashed away in the gallery that I'm like, yo, just wait, it'll have its time, like it'll have its time, it'll come back. And I know this, and I'm like, there's no pressure on when it does come back, but when it does, I want to make sure that I'm ready. So I'm kind of just watching that stuff, and I'm like, you know what, this is up next. Like I'm like smirking right now, because I'm looking in the gallery at all of our racks, and I'm like, yo, there's so much stuff on these racks that it's like people have no idea what's about to hit them in the next 3 to 6 months as far as like trends. So it's pretty cool. I love watching it. I'm obsessed with it, actually.
Do you think that your horizons have expanded significantly since moving to LA?
100%. 100%.
Was that like a game changer for you?
Yo, huge game changer, crazy game changer, insane. Just being in this community is unreal. Just even for the social media thing, like I noticed that when I was in LA, or when I was at the store here, I was for some reason just getting more action on Instagram compared to the Virginia store, just from being in this area and tagging these locations and being on these explore pages and things like that. Like, it's nuts, man. And then sitting in our store right here, if you sit at the register, you'll catch someone from a different country, different state, different part of the world every hour. So just being exposed to that, it's like, dude, we never got that in Richmond. You don't get 10 people from different countries like in one day. That doesn't happen in Richmond. So moving out here, I never paid attention to the Japanese market in Richmond. I couldn't. I wasn't in tune with it. Like that wasn't a thing there.
Did LA make you vegan, or were you always vegan?
My girlfriend made me vegan, or she didn't really make me vegan, but she opened my eyes to it. She kind of showed me. We did this. I think she's been vegan maybe like 6 years or so, 5-6 years. Me just a couple of years less than her. But the day I went vegan was actually in Washington, D.C. I went to a documentary with her, and it just changed everything. There's one thing I can't argue with, and it's facts. And there were so many facts in this documentary that at the end of it, I was like, I want nothing to do with meat, cheese, dairy, nothing, I can't do it. So that's what changed, my whole thing.
I got a question for you from one of the guys in the audience. Actually, the guy who did my guy Kev, who did my logos.
Dope.
Wants to know if you've ever been offered a stylist job, you know, like styling a celebrity or something. And
Yeah.
if you haven't, and if you were, would you take one? Would
I've been
that be
off.
something you'd be interested in, or are you
Yeah,
too
yeah. I'm
locked
interested.
into round
No,
two?
no, I'm interested in that. I love doing projects outside of round two. I have a few days off, and like I love doing that shit. So I would be totally interested. I've actually I've styled a few things here and there. You know, it's something I really enjoy. I love putting outfits together. I love that's because that's what I'm looking for when I'm shopping. I'm keeping in mind these outfits. So when I can
But
see
nobody's
that,
come to you and say, "Hey, listen, Sean, I want you to be my stylist."
no, not like that. Not like, hey, I want you to be my stylist for this, but maybe for this shoot, for this video, for this and that. Yeah. But not like, hey, I want to take, I couldn't do that. I couldn't travel with I don't have time for that, you know, but doing like shoots and videos here and there, different photo shoots. I love that. You know, I always tell people actually, whenever celebrities are like, you know, musicians, celebrity, whenever anyone like that comes by, I always tell them like, yo, if you ever have a specific video shoot, photo shoot, event or anything like that in mind, let me know the event. Let me know the era that you're trying to get the aesthetic from. I'll make sure that I got it covered for you. And so dudes come to me with that all the time. It's not something I necessarily charge for or anything because it's the homies, you know, but they'll hit me up and yo, Yachty will be like, yo, I'm doing this commercial for Sprite. I need something. Or I'm doing this music video. It's kind of got an 80s feel. So I need some stuff. Hook me up, you know? And so I do a lot of that, but also I work with the stylists too. So we get like stylists out the ass that come in here. And my favorite thing is work with the stylists because, yo, like, they always go for the wrong shit. So I always find myself in here like correcting the stylist. I'm like, no, put Travis in this, put so-and-so in this. This is way doper. Cause like the stylist is never like the friend. So I kind of have the advantage of being like, yo, I'm going to give you an opinion as far as being this person's friend. You know what I mean? Here's what they're going to want to wear. Fuck what your email tells you to put them in. This is what they want to wear. You know what I mean? So
who's walked into the LA store that's made you go like, oh shit, that's
yo, you want to know who the one person is who like I was like choked up for words with?
Go for it.
Eric Costin. Out of all the people who came in the store, yo, Costin had me choked up for words, man. I've been watching that dude skate like my whole life. I don't know. I just like, it was crazy meeting Eric Costin. That was someone who really like, he means something to my life. Like I've watched the shit out of him.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
No, not at all. Cause it's not what, you know, like check this out. Like I don't listen to much new rap. I don't know who celebrities are. Like I don't know these people. So dudes would come in and I had no clue who they are. So that's why it was so easy for me to become friends with these dudes. Cause I would be like, I'm talking to this tall dude who came in and then he leaves. And my homie's like, you know, that was Swaggy P. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I've been helping him the past 3 months. I had no idea. So it's kind of like, I don't watch back. I'm not up with this whole thing. So it's like, you know, these rappers and these new, like, you know, musicians and artists would come in and I just help them out. Cause I fuck with like who they look, you know, like I just fuck with them. You know, if you're personable and you talk to me, I'm gonna talk to you and kind of become your friend. And I'll usually find out, I'm like, damn, that's who that is. I'm like, that's crazy. But then like Costin was the one person who he came in, I recognized him off the bat and I'm over there kind of like whispering, I'm like, fuck, Eric Costin came in here. I'm like, should I walk up to him? Should I talk to him? Like, what's up? But so I ended up talking to Costin and it was kind of dope. Yo, I helped him with a Nike SB project. So we ended up like exchanging information and I helped him like find some Nike windbreakers that he wanted to use to kind of reference to do some new Nike SB stuff. We ended up losing contact throughout the way, but I at least can say I helped him find a couple reference pieces, which was cool. Just for me personally, like even having his number in my phone, it's like my life accomplishment, you know? I was watching him skate in the Girl Yeah Right video. The fact that I met him and have his number in my phone, I'm like, that's sweet. Cool. I'll take that.
What's your take on the sneaker community culture, whatever you want to call it? Let me preface that by saying I am not a believer that one exists.
Yeah, I feel you.
I
know.
You know, that's not my, but for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with your views and everything, so I get it, you know? Yeah.
What are your thoughts on where we are today with the industry?
I mean, I think it's almost ridiculous to say that there's not a sneaker community because there's like, that's all I'm in every day is the sneaker community. It's parents who collect shoes their kids now collect shoes and their kids are coming here. It's like, this is an actual like working like community. You know what I mean? This is people of all types and backgrounds and ages and sizes and beliefs and whatever coming together and about one specific thing. Like I feel like that's like the definition of a community, like all working together as one and making like something happen. I feel like that's kind of the definition around too. Like, so I love it. I call it a community and I love it, dude. I think like it's the coolest thing ever. I embrace the hell out of it. I love when a kid comes in the store. If he doesn't know shit, great. Because guess what? I didn't know shit one day. So like, I love when kids come in and they're like, just, I don't know, our store makes people happy, and I like seeing that. So I love the community. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool place for kids too, because it's like, you can fall in love with sneakers and straight up, it might be the corniest thing ever, but that leads you in a direction like away from a lot of stuff that can really like, like really tear you up when you're younger. So I think it's cool. I love it.
Last thing, because we're running.
Yeah.
We're over time, and if you count if you count the audio mess earlier, we're way over time.
Yeah.
But last question: what do you think of the product? Do you think the brand's innovating enough? Do you think they're creating enough? Do you think it's too much retro? I mean, what do you think? I mean, where are we at product-wise, all brands?
Yeah. I just think everyone's innovating too much. I would like everyone just kind of take a step back and just breathe for a little bit. I'm not much of a dude on like the super tech shit. Like I like the Nike Vapor Max, and I think those are sick. But again, that's old technology from the early 80s. People like to see it as being some like new futuristic stuff. Like that's old 80s stuff. So in my opinion, I think everyone, it's cool. I just think everyone tries too hard to like innovate and do some crazy stuff. Like Adidas, Nike, Reebok, they all come out with those shoes where you look at them and you're like, really? Like people are going to put that on their foot and that's going to walk around? Like it's just a lot of stuff just does, it looks too tech. It's got too much information behind it. It's like, look, dude, I just want a nice simple sneaker. I want you guys to give me a good Jordan 1 in a clean colorway. I just want to wear those. I want you to give me a dope Air Max 97. Boom, clean colorway, good materials. I'll roll with that, And that's what I think that's what the customer wants a lot too. It's like, I kept telling Nike, like, I feel like they would always get mad at me. I'm like, are you guys ever going to appeal to someone that's not a performance customer? Someone who's not looking for like the next thing in technology? Because the dude who's buying technology isn't really buying a lot of sneakers. The dude buying a lot of sneakers just wants something comfortable to throw on his foot to go to the corner store, That dude's buying 100.
Adidas Wave?
No, I hate it. I just don't fuck with Adidas at all. It's not my thing. I have absolutely no history with them. Like no nostalgic feeling for Adidas. I don't know.
So you're all Nike, everything, brand loyal.
Yeah. I'm Nike all day. And I told Nike in a meeting, we were actually in a meeting a couple of days ago. I told them, I'm like, you guys could take a shit in my mouth. You could lay me down and shit in my mouth and I would still wear your fucking sneakers. I just like Nike. I just like it. I like the aesthetic of it. It's cool. Like I don't care. So that's how I like Nike, whether they fuck with me or not, like I like Nike. So a lot of people are like, yo, Nike must be giving you a fat check. Nah, they're not. I just really like Nike, So I don't know.
Well, on that note, we'll sign off.
Cool.
Hey, listen, Sean, I appreciate.
Thank you.
Taking almost, with setup and everything and the issues we had earlier.
All good.
2 hours of your time. I appreciate it. I think we were an hour and 15 here live.
Dope.
I really do appreciate you coming on.
Thanks.
Good luck with round 2.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
sir.
with the show.
Thank you, sir.
I'm real excited to see in person.
Hell yeah.
The Nike that you created.
Nah, dude, I'm excited.
I think it's real dope.
I appreciate that.
I'm a fan of the 97. I have a bunch of pairs myself.
Love it, yo. Love it.
So
hell yeah. Thank you.
Good luck, man. I hope it all works out for you, and
thanks.
Hopefully we'll circle back around when you got more to talk about.
Let me know. I'm always down to talk, yo.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Check us out. We got some new guests coming up. We got a lot of new things. I'll let you guys know. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with us after the audio struggle. Peace.